I'm going to do a market update now that the market's closed. As I was saying earlier, I was saying the market's probably going to sell off, once I stop the video. Wasn't long after that's what happened. That's why I was trying to hold off for a bit. So I got out, stopped the video at 11:50 something as it was moving up here. And then it put in the new low. And if you look at the time over here, it really started moving quick in the afternoon. When it went up and tested into this high again. Sold down really quick. That's like 10 minutes or a little more maybe. It's a pretty big move. Almost 100 points in 10 minutes or so. But yeah, it kept on going like I was talking about. I was pretty confident about that. So this was kind of like my minimum target that I drew in the first video this morning. I stopped the video right before it filled that out. Then it sold off another like 80 plus points from that. So pretty big move down from when I first started talking about the session being bearish, the auction. So sold off over 200 points from that high that we were looking at during video 2 up here. Because the POC was up near like 70 something. So it sold off, well over 200 points from that high. That look above and fell right there. If somebody wasn't already in on the trade, let me zoom out a little bit. Want to make sure it's not too crazy of a short. No. Yeah, I think that was a good entry. Immediately comes back down. Gets below this pivot here. You could have drawn this like this as well to catch all these lows. See how it just keeps testing right into that zone. This, I think this one held too. Yeah, so that zone I drew came in, boom, rejected. This little micro auction held. This one held. So yeah, I mean, that's how I look at it in real time to stay in trades. I'm not trying to make predictions. I'm going one step at a time. So, we hold below this auction here. I'm not getting bullish because I see a wick below and then this, green bar or this bullish bar. I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it, we just felled below this prior pivot area, all of these pivots here in this auction. If we're holding below this, I can only go short. Based on the context, even if it did bounce and reclaim this area and start consolidating, normally that's a bullish setup. But the context, it completely colors things in a different way. It takes on a completely different form. So that bullish setup is no longer bullish. Like the level of reversal that I would need to see based to get me out of that bearish sentiment that I was in would have to be like way more than just some little reclaim right here. Because, when it reclaimed right here and kept consolidating, that's kind of what I'm saying. A lot of people just see that and it's like bullish just because, but it's got to do a lot more than that. Based on this context, I think it would have to rip through this area. Maybe even this too, But like at a minimum, it's got to rip through this and build volume above. That's the only thing where I want to start taking some profits maybe. Let me zoom out actually. So it's got to take that out. It would have to take this out now that I'm looking. Yeah. Probably would have to take out VWAP. I'm staying short below that. I mean, I just didn't see anything that would constitute a reversal, Because this is like a lower time frame reversal, but then they're get sold back down every time. So this is a reversal, sold back down. So if you're like scalping, yeah, it's fine, but for like a long intraday hold, I would not be going long off any of these. I wouldn't even be going long off this, or this. Once it takes out this pivot high, that's probably the earliest where I'm thinking we're probably going to get a rotation back up. Maybe test like POC or VWAP. I think it did go after VWAP. I can zoom out here. Yeah, it went for VWAP. But see, this failure here, this failure to put in the new low here, followed by a new high, and then it back tested right into it perfectly. So I think you got to be long right there. And part of the context on that I had mentioned earlier, as another target, something down deep into the LBN, the top of this area, or even down a little bit into this distribution from that prior session. But you can usually expect some kind of profit taking or reversal to happen in this area. A lot of the trapped inventory from down here is going to be covering, so it's going to send us back up. But once we cracked through here and we've got that momentum here, I just think it's a little too early to be fishing for those little reversals that came in earlier. Could happen, but it didn't really make sense at the time. I'm just trying to get a feel for the whole picture here. Yeah, so that's the low that it would have to, or the high it'd have to take out at a bare minimum. Preferably break above VWAP as well. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I'll just kind of recap the whole thing. We had the bearish distribution earlier that went pretty much like this, from this little LVN right here down to here. And I could see the confirmation on the tick chart, the way it kept compressing into the lows. We were getting shallow bounces. I was talking about all of it earlier. Micro auctions, holding below those. There's lots of little things. I'd recommend to maybe even look at that, because it's really super rare that you're going to see analysis like that on YouTube. So I've checked out some tick chart stuff. There's really not that much on there. Usually it's just the basics. So yeah, I mean, we had the bearish distribution, and everything was pretty much confirming it. That's why the tick chart is a really good leading indicator. It's showing the actual auctioning, because these are based on trades, not time. If you're looking at a time-based chart, you might not see all these little nuances. I use time charts, time-based as well all the time, but if I really want to zoom in and see if we're holding an area, I really like to look at these, especially when the volatility is high. It's like a must-have during that. Or you can use like really low time-based chart, like a 10-second chart. That's fine as well. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Take care, guys.